All right, yeah. I don't know what you're doing with your piercing in your tongue, but we don't need to see that. I want to see it.
No, my bad. I'm at work. My bad.
All right, we don't do my bads here. We just don't do it. All right, so Miss, you need to be out of that bed and you're not dressed appropriately for Zoom. All right, so you're going to have to speak up. Nobody can hear you.
I think it's just what I'm on. But yes, you can hear me?
Yes. Slapping somebody who has dementias and Alzheimer's. This is just somebody just hired off the street and said, hey, you have a high school diploma. You want to receive minimum wage to take care of people that nobody else maybe wants to take care of. And this is where we end up.
All right, guys. Today we're looking at a courtroom hearing where the defendant's attitude becomes almost as important as the charge itself. This case involves an allegation that she assaulted an elderly woman who was suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's. But what immediately catches the court's attention isn't just the accusation. It's the way she presents herself in front of the judge. From the moment she enters the courtroom, her behavior gives the impression that she doesn't understand the seriousness of what's happening. Instead of showing concern or respect, she appears completely casual during a hearing where the consequences could be life-changing. And as Judge Wood starts addressing her behavior, the tension begins building quickly.
Miss Janisha Walton, if you want to appear on Zoom, you're going to need to have your video and you need to unmute. All right, yeah. I don't know what you're doing with your piercing in your tongue, but we don't need to see that. I want to see it.
No, my bad. I'm at work. My bad.
All right, we don't do my bads here. We just don't do it. So if you want to continue to appear by Zoom, you need to appear appropriately dressed, and nobody wants to see you fiddling with your tongue piercing. All right, you're going to be back on June 2nd. And June 2nd, you can appear by Zoom, but if the court finds that you are not behaving appropriately, Zoom, that will be suspended. All right, thank you. It gets to be like 60. Oh my gosh, it's too cold. All right, so Miss, you need to be out of that bed and you're not dressed appropriately for Zoom. All right, you need to put on a jacket or something, Miss.
We'll get that.
All right, Miss, you need to put on a jacket or something.
Oh, okay. You want me to call her and tell her?
Yes.
I'll text her.
All right, thank you. And I just sent her a chat.
Okay.
So if you just step to the side and I'll call you right back. And is this going to be an agreement or jury trial?
It's going to be an agreement, ma'am.
All right, so if you all will get the paperwork ready.
I have several courts to be in today. Could we do this on another day? I've got.
I mean, we're here, she's here.
Okay, and we can do it via, I believe she's in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, at least Illinois.
All right,
That's
so.
fine. I can text you when the paperwork's ready.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to put you in the waiting room and they'll get the paperwork sent to you. Ms. Ferguson will need your email and her email. All right, thank you.
Yes, Judge, we went through the paperwork earlier, so she's all set.
No, she needs to be sworn in.
Okay.
And if you go in that breakout room, the clerk will let you know if they have all the paperwork or if there's some issue.
Okay.
Please do not leave the room until someone requests you leave the room.
I know I'm trying to get back and join that room, but I don't know how to get back in.
Another room so it could pop up on your screen. And it's now room number 2. And are you Miss Walton? You need to unmute.
Yes.
All right, Miss Walton, you have a right to appear in person.
It's unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, Miss Walton, you have a right to appear in person in court, but I am in receipt of a consent to plead by video conference. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and electronically sign it?
Yes.
Did you review the application for deferred adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you electronically sign it?
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to have to speak up. Nobody can hear you.
I think it's just what I'm on. But yes. You can hear me?
Yes. Did you review the true bill of indictment? You're saying yes?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you review that with your attorney?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes, I did.
Did you understand you're charged with intentionally or knowingly committing bodily injury against a child, elderly, or disabled person at a state facility?
Yes.
That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at $1,500 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. There's to be no contact with the complainant, the anger management course, and you're prohibited from practicing as a nurse in the state of Texas. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, it is.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 3 years and there be 120 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
My client is in Chicago. She understands, she should not have slapped this individual. She does accept responsibility for it. She would just like to move on and be able to work and complete her probation without any problems.
The biggest problem for the defendant is that her courtroom behavior sends the wrong message. A person facing a serious criminal charge is usually expected to show respect for the process, but the judge sees actions that suggest the opposite. From playing with her tongue piercing during the hearing to later appearing in court without proper clothing, every small choice adds to the court's concerns. This isn't a minor situation. The charge carries the possibility of a lengthy prison sentence, which makes the lack of seriousness even more noticeable. Judges don't only look at the facts of a case, they also pay attention to whether someone understands the consequences of their actions and whether they are willing to follow rules moving forward.
All right, so how much training does she have in the field? Is she a licensed nurse or is she a person that somebody hires and says, hey, we need somebody to come in as a caregiver?
She will have to answer that one.
All right, are you a licensed nurse?
No, I'm working towards getting my CNA.
All right, so this is a situation where somebody just hired you to come in and work in a facility.
I'm a caregiver.
All right, so what's your level of education to be a caregiver?
I finished high school. Completed high school.
All right. See, this is what I mean. Everybody's just letting everybody be a caregiver. And the problem is that being a caregiver for somebody, I think that's sort of like a calling. You have to have said, you know what, I'm going into that field because you're dealing with people who have dementia, Alzheimer's, people who can't take care of themselves, people who need somebody to bathe them. The patient gets upset because they're not doing what they're allowed to do anymore. They can't communicate because they have dementia and Alzheimer's. Then everybody and their mothers just hiring random people, paying them minimum wage or less than. And then we end up here with somebody slapping somebody who has dementias and Alzheimer's. So I know y'all say she's prohibited from practicing as a nurse in the state of Texas. Okay, but she's not a nurse. She's not licensed to be a nurse. This is just somebody that somebody just hired off the street and said, hey, you have a high school diploma. You want to receive minimum wage to take care of people that nobody else maybe wants to take care of. And this is where we end up. And what was the name of this facility? Let me see. Chapters Living of San Antonio. All right. This is what the court is going to do. Does anybody want to speak to length of probation? The state is asking for 3 years. All right. Court is going to sentence you to 5 years deferred adjudication. There's a $1,500 fine. There is to be proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider, no employment with working with minors, no employment with working with people who are disabled. There's to be no practicing as a nurse in Texas or anywhere else. So I'm just going to say no practicing as a nurse. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular random UAs. 120 hours of community service restitution. The $1,500 fine will be probated. There's to be anger management. I'm ordering anger management because you all agreed to it, but it just appears that you were a person who should never have been working with someone in any type of facility, or young children, or people who have mental health issues. That's just not a field for you. Good luck to you. Don't take any more of these positions that requires you to have patience and that requires you to be with someone who has dementia, Alzheimer's, they're elderly, they need somebody to be kind and patient with them. You shouldn't work in those positions. Do you understand?
Yes.
And I do fault the company that hired you as well.
This is where the discussion becomes much deeper. Cases involving vulnerable victims are always complicated because they raise questions about trust, responsibility, and prevention. The victim in this situation was someone who required care and protection, which makes the allegations especially serious. The judge points out concerns surrounding the circumstances that allowed the incident to happen, including the responsibilities of those involved in providing care. However, one important question remains: where does accountability ultimately belong? While systems and organizations can have policies, training, and background checks, the decision to harm another person is still made by the individual. And that is the issue the court has to confront, whether this was an isolated failure or a sign of something more concerning. What makes this hearing stand out is the contrast between the seriousness of the accusation and the defendant's behavior throughout the process. The court is dealing with allegations involving a vulnerable elderly person, yet the defendant's actions inside the courtroom create even more concern about her judgment and maturity. At the end of the day, a courtroom is not just about punishment, it is about determining responsibility, evaluating risk, and deciding what consequences are appropriate. The judge has to consider the safety of the community, the circumstances of the incident, and whether the defendant has shown any understanding of the harm caused. This hearing leaves behind one major question: was this simply a terrible mistake, or does the defendant's behavior show a bigger problem with accountability? Some may argue that the court should focus only on the facts of a crime, while others believe attitude and actions after the incident reveal important information about someone's character. What do you think? Should a case like this result in prison time, or should the court consider probation and rehabilitation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this courtroom breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more real courtroom moments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.